none of them will do anything to substantiate their claims. They'll just, it's fake because it looked fake. You know, it's that kind of thing. Please subscribe. The stranded astronauts.
Yes. So I think we should play this before I ask my question.
Go on then.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore finally touching down back on Earth.
That's all we needed to show. That footage, as spectacular, as great as it was to get those astronauts home after 9 long months on the ISS, that footage looks crazy CGI. I think I know the answer, and I think it's just my brain cannot comprehend that vastness and that emptiness in front of my eyes so clear that it just looks off. That's all it is.
Yeah. And that's the thing, see, that's the difference between you asking that question and somebody like Dell. All Dell would have needed to have seen is that foot, and that's it. That's where his evidence would begin and end that it was fake. None of them will do anything to substantiate their claims. They'll just, it's fake because it looked fake.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of thing. My question would be, what's it meant to look like then if it looks fake?
That is kind of part of my problem is, it looks fake to the eye.
Yeah.
But I think it only looks fake because I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it supposed to look like? It just, like I said, I think my brain just can't comprehend something that looks so clear and so crisp. And I know, you know, the camera tech now, it was clearly a lovely, beautiful day. Very clear out. That shot is obviously, and it's in the middle of the ocean. That shot is obviously going to be very clear.
Yeah, of course it is.
But
of course it is.
It messes with your brain when you look at it because you're like, it just looks mildly cartoonish.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's, you know, that's the first thing. What's it meant to look like, right? Yeah. And then, you know, like you just said now about how it was filmed. You can bet your life they weren't using GoPros. You know, I'm sure there were some GoPros involved, but mainly they would have been using probably 8K cameras, probably you know, probably higher resolution than that, because they want to capture every single frame in the most minute detail. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And that's why I think this one is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
And like we said at the beginning, this episode stemmed from one question, which I've already asked.
Yeah.
So this is just questions now that they're thoughts that pop into my mind.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not the type of person to jump to, therefore it's fake.
Yeah.
I can appreciate why someone's initial thought would be that kind of looks fake to me.
And
I think that's, how would you
stop yourself from finishing there? I've seen it and it looks dodgy, therefore it's fake, and then doing nothing else after that.
Yeah, because my question is, because obviously up to a certain point my line of thinking was similar to a conspiracy theorist. Wow, this thing NASA has done, or whoever it was, looks slightly iffy. But then my brain goes, why? I know, but did they do that too? I don't do they ask why? Like, whereas
why what? Why it looks the way it does, or
why it looks fake, or more.
That's kind of what they say.
Let me put it this way. Rather than get into that looks fake, that doesn't satisfy me. So why does it satisfy them? That's not enough information to make a decision.
So
I think a lot of things look fake, but what do I know?
So, like a conspiracy theorist would have two. It's fake because it looks fake to me, and
that's
if it's not fake, why does it look so suspicious? Then we'll say, for want of a better word, it's that kind of thing. But the problem is that's where they leave it. The difference is, you were asking these questions out of curiosity, and I haven't really had to give you any wordy explanations yet. It's just been simple things like, so what's it meant to look like? And don't you think Russia would have exposed? Do you know what I mean?
Because I think that is one of the fundamental differences between everyday folk and special, adorable little conspiracy people.
Yeah.
What you're essentially doing is just connecting the dots for me. Like you said earlier, I answered my first question myself.
Yeah.
But you just, you led me to the logic, essentially. And then I don't know what I'm trying to say now.
No, I know it is a weird one to try and
because
explain things to yourself.
I think, and we'll probably talk about this a bit later on, is it baffles me they claim to be these truth seekers, they claim to be these I'm hunting down the real knowledge.
Yeah.
But they're happy and satisfied with it looks fake, doesn't it? That's not research.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. And neither is just watching somebody's YouTube video. Now, nobody should be believing me because I say things in my video. Yeah, they are all accurate. They're all backed up by scientific research and papers. Do I make the occasional mistake? Yeah, of course I do. I misspeak sometimes. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect in any way. Nobody is. The only perfect people in the world are the ones who are kidding themselves that they're perfect people. All this information is so easy to find. It's still mind-blowing to me that anybody believes any of this. It's, especially the day and age we're living in right now, because all this information is so easy to get and to verify for yourself.
But I think the verification aspect is something people lack massively.
Yeah.
Because I'll say this, even myself, I don't really know how to verify stuff. I think that's something you eventually learn. That when these conspiracy theorists say, do your own research, I've done my own research. Usually, number one, they haven't.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they have, depending on your preconception of what you're searching for, you can find whichever answer you want, right or wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you decipher the bullshit?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you stop these curious people falling down that rabbit hole of waffling nonsense on the conspiracies?
Yeah,
I guess that's a completely different conversation.
Yeah, it is. I know what you mean, though. It's sort of, where does the madness end type of thing.
Yeah, and how, I don't know. A lot of this comes down to I'm confused by a lot of these conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, and probably a lot of your confusion, and I'm not trying to answer for you, probably comes from the fact that you're thinking, what the hell?
Partly, yeah. I think a lot of the time what confuses me the most of it is I usually follow their train of thought.
Yeah.
And sometimes I agree with a lot of the stuff along the way. And then you get to the conclusion. I'm like, hold on, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like a good example of that would be the elites doing this and that and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
A small group of people running this and that. And I go, yeah, I know, I agree with that. I agree with that. And then they go, and they control everything we see and everything. They want us and they're bending our minds to this. And I go, yeah, I see the influence you're talking about. Yeah. And then the conclusion is like completely batshit mental.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm like, whoa.
Exactly.
I was with you up to a certain point. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You just lost your marbles halfway through a conversation.
Corruption in government doesn't equate to the Illuminati and the Freemasons are running the world. Video from space looks fake because it's in such a foreign environment and we have no reference for what it should look like except the said footage.
Yeah.
So and that's what I mean, see, but flat earthers and conspiracy theorists in general, if something's too difficult for them to understand, then it must be fake. And they start looking for alternative explanations like Dell's upward accelerating Earth.
In that sense is how you can equate it to religion or cult because they're comforting answers.
Yeah, exactly.
And they make you feel like you have some kind of knowledge everyone else lacks. It's all comfort. They're all coping mechanisms.
And that's part of the thing. Imagine a life with no friends. And then I'm not saying that all flat earthers, none of them have got. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying now. Imagine you didn't have any, you didn't have Joe, you didn't have Aaron, didn't have none of the boys. Joe. But then you suddenly have got like 30 friends, and even better than that, they all think exactly like you.
Yeah.
That's the appeal of it in some cases. Some of them are, community. Some of them are quite solitary. On the whole, it's like flat earthers are like real life human centipede. You don't know where their noses are so far up each other's asses. You don't know where one ends and the other begins until one of those flat earthers breaks the chain by disagreeing with something one of the other chain links said.
On to the next one.
Yeah, go on then. Let's move.